Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Last time out, Ryan Steele etched his name on the latest Majors America Race Winner Trophy, taking top honors in the Classic Dallara at Miami. We stay in Florida today for this weekend's Round 8, moving up the coast to New Smyrna Beach, where we look to replicate the short track magic of the World Series of Asphalt. Super late models and a half-mile track, it is a perfect combo this evening on Pit Stop TV. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual New Smyrna, Florida. I'm Andrew Cardinelli IV. I'll soon have Zach Meredith joining me alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the 2025 Major Series. Today's coverage from New Smyrna is brought to you by the Major Series, by the Majors Garage, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. It's good to join you from this half-mile short track located down in New Smyrna, Florida. It is such a fun place to race. It's tight cornered racing too. It feels like a bull ring. It just has longer straightaways, real tight corners, real tight racing line. It makes for a little bit of contact, and we will see guys leaning on one another here this evening. It is going to be a straight up gloves off kind of race. 200 laps in total. Opened in 1967, formerly and confusingly named Daytona Raceway, New Smyrna is a premier short track in the South, and especially in Florida. It is, of course, home to the World Series of Asphalt, which we look to replicate here this evening. Point standings coming into tonight. Here's a look at them. This is the driver standings. I'll have to hunt around for the team standings in just a moment. I've got them. I just have to find the right one. But here's the driver standings. Nathan Dowd on top with 4 wins. The newest winner, Ryan Steele, sits in 6th, just behind Lionel Callisto and Christian Abate. So definitely some motion going on in the top end of the standings. And we're starting to zero in on kind of who is going to be battling for the championship this season in the Major Series. And it certainly looks like Nathan Dowd and Christian Challoner. I gotta find the right graphic. Nah, it's not that one. Hang on. I believe it's this one. Yes, right here. So, we got the right standings now for the team standings. After 7 races of 12, this is how things look in the teams. Giga Racing Team, of course, on top. Sector 5 Racing in second. Only 72 back. There was actually a surprising amount of motion between teams moving spots after Miami a few weeks ago. So, I expect more of these positions to change, particularly the battle for 3rd, the battle for 6th, and maybe even the battle for 11th, 12th, and 13th here in these standings. The rest of the standings are pretty well finalized right now, at least for the time being, and of course will move around as the season goes forward. Whiplash SimCam's race details as we break into qualifying here. 200 laps, 96-mile race, 1 change set, 1 fast fix, 100% fuel, open setup, green-white checkers, and caution laps will count. So we will take a look at who is fast in qualifying as qualifying gets going here this evening. Already to the top of the board, it is Sebastian Jackson, quickly upset by short track ace Kyle Turzak. He brings his car to a stop, and we will get everything going there on the left side of your screen so you can see exactly who is where. Turzak is up by nearly 3/10 already in qualifying, and that is a significant margin. Turzak is a driver we know is going to be good here tonight. We see him all the time in the Sarah Super Series, the Sarah National Tour. We know how good Kyle Turzak is. He's even got the Sarah decals on his number 200 Chevrolet Camaro. We expect Kyle Turzak to stink up the show a little bit as a short track ringer here this evening. But the top of the other times, Austin Peterson, he is looking good in that 2nd spot. And these guys are all going for the top 24 here. Top 24 to make top split around that 24th position cutoff line. Bob Beltrami currently sits in that 24th spot. These drivers have 4 laps. It's at the fastest lap they can, as now Shane Vickery will hold on to 4th position. 24th position, that is. About 48 cars checking in to go qualifying this evening. Shane Vickery now dropping down behind Joseph Homan, who now sits in the 24th spot. Kyle Turzak still on top. Christian Challoner now 2nd, and he is within 1/10 of Kyle Turzak, so Challoner could have something here. Austin O'Neill also pretty close. He's looking good. Let's not forget Lionel Callisto. Lionel Callisto nearly, well, right about within a 1/4 second of Kyle Turzak. Turzak, by the way, over a 10th clear of the rest of the field in practice, so we know he's got speed in that number 200. Callisto will abandon that lap. Challenger down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Let's see what Christian Challenger can do here in qualifying. Going for that top spot, a little bit loose, maybe out of turn 4. Right up to the outside wall. It's a 17-1. That will not be good enough for top spot. A few drivers left to go. Scott Kukas out on the racetrack in the Cookie Monster, number 242. Let's not forget Dallas Pataska. This is going to be the other heavy-hitting driver that we see in the Sarah Super Series oh so often on Thursday nights here on Pit Stop TV. Pataska, I expect to be very, very good here this evening. Didn't quite hit that same mark I was expecting in practice, but that's okay. I expect him to be really good here in the race, so long as he makes top split. Pataska out of the corner, a 17.050, good for third right off the bat, and that will be it for his first lap at things. A couple other drivers on the racetrack. Justin French got the wireframe on his number 806. And I would like to welcome in now my broadcast partner, Zach Murtis. Zach, will you join us here in qualifying about a minute ago? Kyle Turzak, as you would expect, hearing that name, he is at the top of the board, the only driver in the 16-second bracket. Christian Challenger second quick. Dallas Pataska, though, as he gears up for another run, is third, and he very well could go for pole.
Pataska is one challenger that I think we should always keep into consideration when it comes to these oval races. We saw how good he was at the World 600. We saw how good he was even in a lot of the road events on here as well. But, you know, I think one thing we always got to talk about, Andrew, when it comes to these racing series that we talk about here on Pit Stop TV, especially our disciplines that stem in stock cars, there's always ovals and roads, and there's always drivers that have disciplines and are good in each of those disciplines when it comes to the ovals and the road courses. And Pataska always shines on these ovals, and in these high horsepower, low downforce cars, always seem to be working in his favor. But Turzak's one name that we should always look out for as well. He's one of our Sarah drivers that we cover here on Pit Stop TV. He's always up at the top of the leaderboard when we cover the Sarah series. Actually, he was doing the late model stock car portion the last I remember. Has Turzak done any super late model racing this year that we have covered?
Yeah, so he runs in the National Tour, and I believe he runs in some Super Series races. I might be mistaken there, but regardless, we know him from Sarah. We know how good he is. He's been on the cusp of winning races before. My mind goes back to some races at Myrtle Beach recently, so I know he is one to watch, and I even messaged him before the race. I said, dude, be patient. He's young, one of the younger drivers here in this race. Be patient. I really do believe this is Kyle Turzak's race to lose, so long, Zach, so long as he just sits back and minds his P's and Q's. He can get himself in a bind very quickly if he just holds on to that top spot and plays very, very nicely out front with guys like Christian Challenger and Dallas Pataska. I do believe this is Turzak's race to lose as the short track ringer here this evening. Now, we can take a look across the field and see who is where in our top 24. As Zach, it's just the top 24 going on to the top split race. We do have 49 cars, so that might give us a 25th, but for right now, we are under the impression of 24 cars going on to make the top split feature. So, Kyle Turzak, as we look at the unofficial results, of course, these result screens, they're really meant for the end of the race, but we can use them here for qualifying. Turzak, top of the board with a, let's see, a 16.960 over Challenger, Pataska, O'Neill, and Dowd, your top 5. Callisto, Peterson, Banfield, and Roberts, and Nash, your top 10.
And rolling on down, you've got Brenton Foster and Brian Bennett in 11th and 12th, Sebastian Jackson and Ryan Steele making up 13th and 14th. Justin French is in that 15th position. And look at the spread. Even in this 11th to 20th spread, these 10 cars outside the top 10, the spread is really about a tenth of a second from 11th to 20th. Maybe a little bit more than a tenth, but all around in the same time frame. I mean, it just shows you how close this field is right now. Stephen Kirby ends up in the 16th position. Wesley Holland ends up 17th. Stephen Paulison is in the 18th position, Brian Barnes in that 19th spot, and then Robert Northway in that 20th position. Like you said, Andrew, we've got 49 cars, so this is barely even half the field that we've gone through right now to work on that top split, but these next 4 or 5 cars are the ones we believe should be locked into top split for the Americas region.
Those being Andy Banfield, Brock Hawkins, Wayne Hutchison, and David Hall, until we're told differently. We believe that will be the field for top split, your top 24 of 49 cars. I would not be surprised if they move Brian McGreevy in. I would also not be surprised if they leave him in second split. We have been told top 24. That's what we're going with unless we get told differently by Mike Willett. So far, the last message is still top 24. So he did say unless there's more than 48, but we're only 1 over 48, and Ray Partridge did not set a qualifying lap. So I'm not really sure exactly how that's going to be treated, but 24, maybe 25 cars making the top split. So David K. Hall, the final driver at the moment that we know is qualified. And look at the gap between David Hall and Brian McGreevy. 2 1,000ths of a second between being 0.439 off and 0.441 off of pole time. That is very impressive. And if we look down through the rest of the field a little bit here, Zach, and you're not going to name too many names here. I mean, Bob Beltrami stands out. That's unfortunate that he won't make top split, but a lot of these guys, they are thousandths of a second apart. The only big gaps are up top and at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like we were talking about a second ago. This field is so tight, Andrew. This field is insanely tight amongst these drivers. You see Craig Hawkins in that 41st position. I mean, 0.6 of a second spread between first place and 41st place. That's just a few car lengths, really. Usually the best determination is about 1/10 is 1 car length. So 6 car lengths from the start finish line, that would put them off of turn number 4, right around where you see the restart cone off the little corner of your screen there on the right hand side. That's the spread. Greg McGeaney is in the 42nd position, Wesley True 43rd, Scott Kukas in the 44th position, Drew Neuenbar in 45th, Robert Courtney in 46th, Richard Moore in the 47th position, and then the last 2 I don't believe took a time. That's Ronald McPherson and Ray Partridge. I don't think either of them took a time. I know it shows the delta off of the leaders, but I really don't think they took a competitive lap time. I mean, that's kind of clear.
Partridge did not, rather. McPherson did. McPherson was the only of 48 qualifiers to not run a lap within a second of the pole time for Kyle Terzak. Now, we're going to go ahead and get out of this session, go to a quick break, and be back here in just a few moments with what should be top split. Again, we expect it to be the top 24. That's what we've been told. Bless you, Zach. We expect it to be the top 24. It may be the top 25, but let's go to a quick break, and we'll be right back here in just a few with your top split race.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage. Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Welcome back to the virtual New Smyrna Speedway. We are ready to go racing this evening for 200 laps at this famous half mile on the coast of Florida. We've gone through qualifying. We've narrowed it down to, I believe, 25 starters for tonight's top split race. It was going to be 24, but with 49 qualifiers, we expanded top split by 1 to allow Brian McGreevy to race in top split. That'll be some extra points for him, I'd imagine. Let's take a look, Zach, again at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 200 lap, 96 mile race. I believe it can be extended. I believe we have at least one green-white checkered, one change set, 100% fuel, open setups, one fast fix. We should have green-white checkers. Caution laps will count. So the important notes here, Zach, I think, first of all, the change set of tires. We don't see that in the Sarah Super Series all that often, or the Sarah National Tour. We have that here tonight. This is a long enough race. We're giving these guys a chance. If they need tires, they have one set in the pit lane. I would expect somewhere around 100 to 125 complete is where these guys will look to put those on.
I have always been a big fan of these random amounts of change sets that usually come with late model stock car events or super late model events that we see across the country, because a lot of times they don't specifically put a rule in place on when you have to put those tires on. There are a lot of series that do make you take tires at a mandatory stage break. However, when they don't put that stipulation in the rule, it creates an open and amazing possibility for countless strategy determinations on when they want to put those tires on. If they only want to put 2 right side tires on or 2 left side tires on at a later point in time, or even just take 2 right side tires. One of the big things that they like to do with the super late model at Five Flag Speedway is only take right side tires. I don't think that's going to be the case here at New Smyrna, just because of the track differences between one Florida track and another Florida track, but one change set, it still creates an immense amount of possibilities for these guys.
It's going to be a fun one here this evening. It gives them just enough strategy options to be a little more interesting than a straight-up no-tire race, but I'm partial to those no-tire races, man. It forces these guys to save their tires regardless. I think tonight you'll still see a fair amount of tire saving. I think you can run them hard at first, but then you're going to want to fall back and save your stuff through the mid-portion of any green flag runs we have here tonight. So that's a look at Whiplash SimCam's race details. Let's take a look at your Cody Williams design race weather. 72.6 degrees in the air, 77 on track, mostly cloudy skies. The sim date is set to February 4th, I believe. So calm winds, humidity about 50%, not too crazy. A pretty nice day for racing.
About the time when real life World Series of Asphalt would be taking place.
Well, that's exactly the point, yeah.
Yeah, really setting the stage for these guys, which plays into the schedule that the Major Series has with emulating these real-life events that they tend to put on. And we're getting through it, Andrew. We're up to the waning stages of this season. We've got Petit Le Mans coming up next month. The following, we've got the Southern 500 with the NASCAR Next Gen. Then we've got the Bathurst 500 with Gen 3 supercars. That's going to be a fun one. And then the Japanese Grand Prix with the Super Formula race cars. Now, I understand why they're using the Super Formula cars instead of the Formula 1 cars on the sim. You have a lot more customization with the Super Formulas, but I also love that they're dipping into something that is still within the frame to do, because Super Formula does run the Japanese circuit. They do run at Suzuka. They've got some staggered history there. But I think out of these last 5 that we've got coming up, this one that we're covering right here tonight, the World Series of Asphalt, is got to be my favorite. You know how much I love these late models on Pit Stop TV, Andrew.
Well, that's exactly it. This feels like Majors are stepping into what we do on a weekly basis, just a little bit, right? I mean, just last night, I was at Orange County Speedway, a 3/8 mile racetrack in Rougemont, North Carolina, for the South Atlantic Pro Series, which is on the same chassis as this car. Different motor rule, same chassis, same general idea. So, just last night, I was doing this in the real world. Zach, you do it as well. You go to short tracks across North Carolina, and you do this thing. You go to Caraway Speedway. I go to various racetracks. It's a Tri-County the week prior. So this is our stuff. This is short track racing. This is what we do. So this feels like the Major Series is stepping into our territory a little bit here this evening, and then it's right back to theirs, right? IMSA classes at Petit Le Mans, NASCAR next-gen vehicles, that's kind of back in our alley for the Southern 500, but then the supercars and the super formula cars, that's back in their territory, I feel like, a little bit. So this is a cool little crossover here this evening.
Have we ever covered supercars or super formula in any way, shape, or form?
No, I was just going to say that'll be a first for each of those races.
Oh, baby.
Well, let's get to it. A quick warm-up, and we are into our race session. Let's take a look at tonight's Lucky Performance starting grid. On pole, Kyle Turzak in car 200, Christian Challoner from second place, Dallas Pataska from third. It'll be Austin O'Neill in fourth place, Lionel Callisto on the outside of Nathan Dowd in row 3. Nathan Dowd, of course, is the points leader. Starting from 7th, it'll be Austin Peterson. All 7s here. Lucky 7s in position 8. Ross Banfield rolls off from 8th spot. Then Bryce Roberts and Robert Nash.
Rolling through the rest of the top 10, we've got Brenton Foster and Brian Bennett rolling off 11th and 12th. 13th and 14th on the starting grid. Right behind them, you'll find Sebastian Jackson in that 87 car and Ryan Steele in that 14th position, the number 12 car. 15th, you'll find Justin French and Stephen Kirby in that 203 in the 16th position. 17th and 18th on the starting grid tonight. Right behind those two, you'll find Wesley Holland in that Keelan Harvick style car store throwback, and Stephen Policen in that number 58 18th spot. And then Brian Barnes and Robert Northway round out 19th and 20th. We've only got 5 cars left on these short parade laps.
Andy Banfield, Brock Hawkins, Wayne Hutchison, David Hall, and Brian McGreevy, your top 25 qualifiers that made it into top split. This is the view from Kyle Turzak's perspective at the front of the field, getting ready to go racing. There you see about 40-mile-per-hour pace laps. We're about to go at it here at New Smyrna Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us here at Pit Stop TV. If it's your first time, reach down there and hit that subscribe button for us before we go racing this evening. We're about to turn them loose. Let's turn the music down, turn the engines up, and get ready for 200 laps at New Smyrna. We're racing in the Major Series World Series Asphalt.
And we've already got a caution, Andrew. Caution on the speedway. 1 car around front straight away. That is the number 58 of Stephen Policen. And he doesn't look like he has any damage on the front end of that race car. Not seeing anything all around, maybe on that left rear, but it looks like he's going to be able to keep on trucking here in this 200 lap event.
Yeah, some left rear damage on the Sector 5, number 58. Let's go back and see what happened to driver 58 here on the start of tonight's race. He was right behind the 203. That's going to be Stephen Kirby. And ahead of Wayne Hutchison, I believe. And there was a checkup, and then he got hit from behind. And that would be the rear end damage. Let's watch this again. This is from our TV Simple 3 that we've got. So a pretty simple view, front stretch on. You see the checkup, and yeah, they just kind of clobbered each other.
This looks like a little bit further up the road, maybe 3 cars up, didn't get rolling. And that's what caused the stack up. And that's one thing we always talk about, Andrew, as well. When it comes to racing in this discipline, you can't always see what's in front of you. You're reliant off of the car in front of you.
An early look at what could be a lucky performance, lucky break of the day for Brian Barnes. He very narrowly missed that one. That was very close to him being involved in an incident there on the front stretch to get this race started, but he was lucky, got on through it, and will continue on in today's race. We do have Robert Northway. That was the Lightning McQueen lookalike. He did pit under this yellow. There he is in car 46. He has taken to the pit lane. He was the car that ran into, I believe, Stephen Policen, and David Hall has also taken to the pit lane. They are now towards the back of the field. At the front, though, we're double back up, ready to go racing. Won't see anything fancy like choose rules or anything here tonight, Zach. This is a straight-up short-track race like iRacing intended it, if you will. So this is going to be kind of back to basics in a few ways. That's okay. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think. 200 laps the distance, and that number 200 car could be the one to win it here this evening. We at least got through lap 1, albeit with a caution. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again here at New Smyrna. Down the back stretch, nice and tidy. Turns 3 and 4. Let's go by the speed shot here.
Oh, I love the speed shot cam, Andrew. It's like you were reading my mind. This is one of my favorite shots. As Turzak goes purple, a 17.32. For some race pace, that's a great bar to set early on in the running as the sun starts to set. The grip level is going to come up. I hear cars around, out of camera shot. Turn 4, it's a big one, Andrew. Oh my goodness, we've got multiple cars piling into that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them all over the place. Couple of cars getting turned back around. But just as we got back green, the caution flag is out once again. Look at the damage on the 71 of Brian Bennett.
And this is not an easy combo at all. This super late model is not easy to drive. New Smyrna Speedway, not easy to get around. So I'm not surprised we're seeing these guys who I would imagine usually run mostly road cars and whatnot. Maybe even a little bit of oval racing and some different oval machinery. I'm not surprised we're seeing a couple of early cautions as these guys get used to things there. You see the number 11, Brenton Foster, got into the 21, and that was just little bit of a mistake that turned into a really big problem.
Looking through the field, nobody with a pit for a pair flag. No meatball flags, we like to say, going on throughout this field. On board with Brenton Foster. Just gets it in a little deep there and ends up getting into the quarter panel. I can see where he was going, but it looks like the hole just closed way too quick for him to make that move and jump on gaining that position right there, Andrew.
Yeah, Brenton Foster diving there on the 21 to Bryce Roberts. This is the driver's eye POV. He just got in deep. They might have checked up top a little bit, and that hole closed in a hurry.
And that's going to be one thing that we see later on in the race. Not the dive bombs, obviously, but a lot of these guys testing the braking zones, because when it comes to this super late model, you said it yourself, Andrew, it's a difficult combination at this racetrack. This high horsepower, most of the time you are wheel spinning off the corner in this race car. You've got to be feathering the throttle on corner exit. At the same time, you've got to be able to charge these corners as the race goes on. You've got to be able to have that consistency and that confidence in your braking that you're not locking up half the time or just charging it too hard to where you're just missing the corner entirely because you're just carrying so much speed with this horsepower in this race car.
We've re-racked and restacked behind the iRacing.com safety car. We'll go back racing this time by with 11 laps complete. So a slow start to what is going to be a bit of a long race for these guys. They'll want to settle in and get some laps complete here in a hurry, that's for sure. Here we go, back to the restart zone, green flag, back in the air, racing once again in the World Series of Asphalt. This time, flag stand shot. Barney the flag man standing by, ready to wave that yellow if he needs to. Let's hope he keeps the green in his hand for a while. Zach, as your top 5 start to single file out and break away.
I hear more cars going around. I see a breakup turn, number 3. One car around, close to the top of the wall. Oh, that is the number 87 and the 10 car. That is going to be David K. Hall and Sebastian Jackson. Oh my goodness, Andrew. We're just starting to settle into rhythms here. Just getting these laps ticked off and into the corner. You see Jackson.
A lap prior.
They're in a side-by-side battle here.
Racing with a 96. That's going to be Robert Nash. There's the 12 of Ryan Steele. That's our most recent winner who gets into the 87 and sends him for a spin. Another look at things here. Right down here in turn 3. 12 just dives in. Same corner we've seen problems in so far this evening. Of course, we saw that previous caution. Very similar kind of incident. This is almost rinse and repeat, just different cars. And again, this will be kind of a learning moment for these guys where they're learning the balance of the car a little bit. They're learning what they can and can't do, how hard they can charge the corner, how hard they can't. So, you know, as much as these guys have to practice throughout the week, they have to run 100 practice laps to be eligible for the event. That does not guarantee, though, that it's wheel-to-wheel practice. That just guarantees that it's practice for the driver in the car. So these guys might not have many wheel-to-wheel laps to know exactly where the bounds of the car are. And, Zach, this is a car that we see a lot of times have some net code, which is basically a slang colloquial term for a mismatch in the hitboxes and the real location of the car that you visually see. So sometimes there's basically an impurity, if you will, or a miscalculation by the sim of where the car is expected to be. They'll make contact with hitboxes, but not visually with their actual car on the racetrack. That's the kind of layman's term way to explain it. But we see that a lot in this race car. High speeds on a short track, it happens. Green flag back in the air, lap 18 now underway.
Going around the number 7. Oh, they're piling in multiple cars, one upside down, out of turn number 2. Andrew, I can't even begin to describe how crazy this has already gotten. I mean, I don't even know if these guys want to turn a green flag lap now.
Let's see what happened. This is the number 7 of Nathan Dowd off the nose of Ross Banfield, and big hits were made. The 46 came in heavy. Banfield goes up, and that's some pretty instant karma for Banfield.
Oh my goodness.
Watch Banfield, the 777 run white car, just barely taps the 7 of Dowd. And, you know, this is one, maybe not complaint, but one thing you have to keep in mind with these cars, they are big. They have big, boxy bodies. And in the real world, you can lean on those bodies quite a bit. You can make contact, and the panels bend. They give way, Zach.
The crumple zones.
Right. But here on iRacing, the bodies are very rigid. They don't actually give way because you're working with a hitbox. It's so different from real life racing, and it gives you incidents like this, right? Where in the real world, the bodies would have absorbed that impact. Here on iRacing, not the case. So the rigidity leads to cars immediately spinning when contact is made, as opposed to giving and allowing the driver to catch the race car. Let's go on board here with Ross Banfield.
Just a little tap there. It's all it takes is just to upset these race cars. And really, that's with any form of racing, Andrew. We've seen it time and time again. When you're traveling at such high speeds, the faster you go, the more unstable you become. That's just how driving a race car works half the time. And we do have some confirmation that they have extended the caution by 1 lap just to get the field squared away. So I think it's a little more discussion time, we'll say, when it comes to these race cars and just how things roll about when it comes to the damage that we've seen on pit road with Banfield in that 777 car. You see just how long he's already been there. Northway's making his way back onto the racetrack. A lot of these guys took some heavy hits. Thankfully, though, they've got a fast fix. They've got the fast fix to get back out there.
Yeah, but in a short track race, you do not want to have to use that in the opening portion of this event. You want to save that.
Never want to have to use it.
Right. You don't want to have to use it at all, but if you're going to have to use it, you want to maybe use it a little bit later on and fix up minor damage to go back for a run for the win or something. You don't want to have to use it this early, because if you use it by the first 25 laps, you're likely, I'd say, because you're probably in the back of the field at that point, likely to get involved in something else. It doesn't have to happen, but it's very, very likely. Let's go back racing here in just a moment. We'll go back racing on lap 24 of 200, so a little beyond 1/10 of the way through this race. And here we go, green flag back in the air here in Florida. And immediately a caution, Sebastian Jackson around.
Another incident by Sebastian Jackson. Well, not by him, but at least being involved in. He was involved in an early one already, over in turn number 3 and 4. Now you see him back around once again. There's some left rear damage on that race car. Just got a feel for him now, just getting involved in a few too many incidents now.
The Fusion Silver driver involved in another incident by his teammate, actually. Bryce Roberts got in the back of him. Wow. I wonder, Zach, was there a hang-up on the shift, maybe?
There could be.
Let's listen. Watch the, you can't really see, but watch the RPMs right under his right hand. Oh, let's listen. Yeah, there was something that went on.
I mean, he hit the tack. Hit the tack. That's a weird thing
the
to
limiter.
say. He hit the limiter. Thank you. Right before the contact was made.
Let's watch this again and listen again. So I'm going to call it out when he hits the chip here. Right here, and then again. I wonder, was there contact that second time?
I think there was contact the first time when he shifted. Either that or wheel spin that would have checked him up. See it right here.
Right there was contact, and then a contact again. So yeah, he got hit. He didn't have a great restart. It was a little bit slow of a roll speed, and Bryce Roberts, his teammate, just got in the back of him. So let's ride on board here with Roberts and see what it was like for him.
One of the unwritten rules of stock car racing, never wreck your teammate.
He tried to get out of it, thought he had it gathered up. Not so much.
Hard part with trying to gather it up, Andrew, he's already slowed up in front from the initial contact. Just makes it hard to read sometimes. His lights go out atop the pace car. Kyle Turzak has led every single lap so far, green and caution.
And if you want to see more of these cars in action, Zach, Thursday, August 21st, we have these same cars in another race here on Pit Stop TV, and Turzak and Pataska will likely be in it. We'll talk more about it later on, but there you see it Thursday. The Impel Motorsports National Tour heads to Oxford Plains Speedway. More on that in a bit. For now, we're coming up on lap 30. Green flag back in the air, racing once again here at New Smyrna. One lap complete. Starting to settle in a little bit. Turzak, Challenger, Protascu, top three, Callisto and O'Neill right behind. First side-by-side. Seems to be maybe around the Stephen Kirby and Justin French area.
That is the battle for the 8th position. You saw French get a little hot in there. They almost made a little bit of contact. Shifted around, still green, still clean. As French is working on clearing that 203. Still stuck up on the top line. Gets clear, single file now. Now the first side-by-side battle is just a couple cars behind them. This is for the 11th position. This should filter out relatively quickly. Then again, charging back on the outside. That's McGreevy. Hawkins down low, trying to hang on as much as he possibly can. That low line is going to be beneficial, Andrew, but then at the same time, you've got one change set available. But do you want to be burning your tires up on the outside line, fighting this long already, this early?
You don't want to have to fight at all if you don't have to, but this is Hawkins and McGreevy now battle ahead. Challenger has fallen back to third. He's been passed up by Pataska. Callisto now on the inside. This makes sense. Pataska to go on by Challenger makes a lot of sense. He's a short track ace just like Kyle Turzak, so he gets on by that one car. And Callisto is starting to go at that number one as well. He falls back in line, but a battle here inside the top five.
At a point in time, you just have to figure with yourself where you're going to pick and choose those battles, and I feel like that was a good battle to fight for Challenger to keep that track position. Should he want to let him go, or let Callisto go and save his tires, Challenger would have lost 3 spots there. And should a caution come out immediately after he lets those spots up, that's track position. He just gave up. So I admire the call to hang on to that track position and keep that fight forward. He may have burned a little bit of tire up on that outside line, but he's still got a dog in this fight up in the 3rd spot.
Watching the field cycle through on some of the static cameras around the racetrack. This is turn 4. One paint scheme I'm noticing early, Zach, and one that I appreciate seeing on the racetrack this evening is that number 806 of Justin French. Started 15th, already into 8th. Clearly must be a super late model fan. That's a Bubba Pollard look-alike in that number 806 machine. So I appreciate seeing this as somebody who works in the short track industry, and especially with broadcasting super late model races for the ASA Stars Tour, where Bubba Pollard ran some this season. I definitely appreciate seeing this particular car on the racetrack just a little bit more as he runs in the 8th spot. He was racing with Kirby, got on by Kirby, who falls back to 9th. Barnes, that lucky performance, lucky break of the day, early on recipient, sits in the 10th position.
Yeah, the top 10 in a really good standpoint, but look at the ticker, Andrew. 10th place is already 5 seconds behind Kyle Turzak. He is setting the pace. and he is setting it well. 1.3 seconds up, 1.4 really up on Dallas Pataska. Then it's a further second back to Christian Challoner. He's got a lock on the field right now. I mean, he's got what looks to be a really good setup on that race car, and it plays into the fact of what I'm about to talk about, that offset. I have never truly been a fan of the offset on steering wheels and running it, to the right in the race car with it being straight in the corners. And caution is out on the speedway.
Sebastian Jackson again. Brian Bennett also involved. He brings it straight down the pit lane in the Sector 5 Chevrolet.
That's going to be a fast fix right there.
Right into the box. Let's see. Does he go straight for the fast fix? Wait for
What's happening
it.
there? He's just slow rolling.
He's actually in Jackson's box.
Is he... Jackson has a meatball flag. That I can tell you for certain. Per race control, he's got a meatball
And
flag.
Bennett takes the fast
There's
fix.
the fast fix. So Jackson had to go with a tow to the pit lane. Race control's deeming it on the 87 car of Sebastian Jackson.
Got loose.
Oh, it just goes around. Oh!
Nowhere for Bennett to go. This was at the very back of the field as well. Let's see the onboard to Brian Bennett. Let's see Jackson around, up ahead. He goes high and then comes back down low. And maybe Brian could have checked up a little more, but these brakes don't always do a whole lot. They have bigger brakes than late model stock cars, I'll tell you that, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. So a big hit there for Brian Bennett, but he does take the fast fix and head back out on the racetrack in car number 71. Two cars are 3 laps down. One is Sebastian Jackson now in the pit lane. The other, Ross Banfield, 3 laps down, has of course taken that tow from earlier and is back on the racetrack here. Has some damage still, and he is just trying to stay in the field right now.
Hey, you never know. You could end up getting that free pass. You could get waved around.
Lightning McQueen on the pit lane, otherwise known as Robert Northway.
Now, I do gotta poke your brain here a little bit, Andrew. We've seen this done before. We've seen it in the Sarah Series. We've seen it in other super late model races we covered with drivers using open setups. Do we think that a lot of these guys have underfueled these race cars and are using these caution laps to save that gas? These cars are lighter there's less fuel in it. Or maybe do we see a lot of these guys pitting, topping off on a little bit of fuel early on so they have that and can burn it off later in the race?
I don't want to make a bet on that. I wouldn't be surprised if Terzak maybe underfueled a little bit, knowing he can try and save under cautions, especially considering we are counting caution laps, but I wouldn't bet on too many of these guys being too aggressive with that. Green flag back in the air, nearly a quarter way through. The sun is setting in the background. Christian Challoner has got that 3rd spot over Callisto. Here comes Austin O'Neill on the inside.
Side by side as they tick by the flag stand. Callisto up top, Austin O'Neill down on the bottom. Just trying to find his way through up off of turn number 2. That top line is very, very good at being defensive. This track, while it has a lot of great short track characteristics, it's got a lot of speedway characteristics as well. You can really use that top line for some great defense, unlike tracks like Martinsville or Five Flags, where that bottom line can be super defensive, super good. It's working right now. It's working for Austin O'Neill. He's going to try, and it looks like he will almost get clear of Lionel Callisto. Looks like he might get him here off of turn 2. No, Callisto is really fighting back on that top line.
O'Neill still trying to clear Callisto on the top side. And Robert Nash sits right behind these guys. He stands to benefit from this battle, potentially no. Callisto will slide down in front of Robert Nash and take that 5th spot for now. So Callisto getting in line there. Nash has to settle for 6th. Single file on back through most of the field. In fact, about all of the field, all the way through the back end of the field. Single file right now following Kyle Terzak as he dives into turn 1. Already a 2nd up over Dallas Pataska. Who is this guy? For those of you watching that normally watch the Major Series, Kyle Turzak is a young racer out of Virginia. He runs in the Sarah Super Series, the Sarah National Tour. He runs the Sim Auto Racing Association very, very often. He's made a name for himself. He runs for Ryan Kuhn Motorsports and the Ryan Kuhn Motorsports or RKM setup shop. This is a short track ace. He gets it done at his local short tracks all the time. I believe Dominion Raceway in Spotsylvania, Virginia is his local track. This is as short track ace as you can get for a 15 or 16-year-old on the iRacing sim. He does it in real life, does it here on the sim. And quite frankly, unless Pataska gets a really good restart, Zach, I think the rest of the field will be chasing him all night long.
I think you have hit the nail on the head on that one. He has already worked himself back out to a really good lead over Dallas Pataska, 1.2 seconds over that 24 car. He's barely in camera shot when we look back on that number 200 car. There you see him coming off of turn number 4. There is Dallas Pataska and the rest of the field. You know, I think, Andrew, you should have put up another social media graphic like you did for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. Would you take Kyle Turzak, Dallas Pataska, or the rest of the field?
Hey, Christian Challenger could have been on that as well. He was really good in qualifying, and you know, for a driver not from the United States, I got to give it to him. He is getting it done here this evening in the short track world. A super late model at New Smyrna. Again, a very American combo, not exactly easy to handle. He's getting it done here this evening in car number 1. A little over a quarter way through, battle for 7th. Austin Peterson, Justin French.
French has been slowly working his way forward, trying to find ways to just get creative with passing opportunities. You saw them make a little bit of contact through 1 and 2, nose out in front to French at the line. It's a dead heat, and Barnes is just sitting back there in that 4 car, just sitting, waiting in the winds, waiting to see what's going to happen with these guys. There is that 203, that Sundrop racing machine of, oh, excuse me, I had a little bit of frog in my throat. Stephen Kirby chasing them down as well. Just kind of sitting there waiting and watching, seeing what's going to happen.
French on the inside, still working on the inside of Austin Peterson. Peterson's been here with us all season long in the Major Series. French, I believe, a newcomer as well. Might have a couple other starts under his belt, but clearly able to get it done here on a short track. He has, gets in a little deep to Peterson, but he has worked his way from 15th now into 7th, so one more spot on the mark there for Justin French as Peterson slides back to 8th now on the outside of Brian Barnes. This is the battle for 8th with Kirby right behind, Ryan Steele as well. And, you know, we should highlight Ryan Steele, actually. He is the most recent winner in the Majors America Series. The Dog Bear Racing driver getting it done in the Dallara IR05 at Homestead Miami Speedway back in July. So props to car number 12. Got it done then, but he's got a few spots to gain for sure if he wants to keep that streak up.
Yeah, look at where he's at. He's really in the Hornets' nest at the moment. Big run off of turn number 2. He had to jump out of it to stay out of Stephen Kirby right there, who slides way up to the top side of the racetrack. That's going to put them 3 wide as Nathan Dowd is looking to gain back some spots after he's been involved in a couple of incidents tonight. Now he's getting boxed in. 62 of... oh my goodness, I just have too many frogs in my throat. 62 of... sorry.
Watching the battle, the 13 and 203, Hawkins and Kirby. Hawkins down low in the Rowdy Energy, number 13. I love that paint scheme. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, for the short time that Rowdy Energy was around, Zach, I partook. I did enjoy that energy drink, but regardless, Kyle Busch into some new ventures now. Kirby on the outside, of course, in those Sundrop Dale Earnhardt Jr. colors. Not much changing out front, by the way. The only thing that has changed is that Austin O'Neill is up to 3rd. Christian Challenger back to 4th. This is the best battle on the racetrack.
You know, I think with those two drink sponsors, that is, running side by side with each other, I've never had either one of them. I've never really partaken in energy drinks, and I don't really drink that much soda either. So I've never really understood how good they are. I know Sundrop's a bit of a cultural iconic soda in the South. So
I was going to say, you live in North Carolina, you've never had Sundrop?
I've never had sun drop.
Unbelievable. Well, one of these days, we'll have to change that for you. The sun drop 203 dives down, and it's going to get turned. What a catch, though, out of Stephen Kirby.
Heck of a save. That was awesome.
Gets back on the racetrack right in front of Robert Northway. He'll continue on now right on the inside of Brian McGreevy. And for Brian McGreevy here this evening, made the field kind of on a technicality. We were told top 24. He qualified 25th. He was allowed to run top split. Props to him. He's making the most of this opportunity here in top split. He is up to 15th.
Yeah, he's doing a heck of a job right now. Picked up 10 spots already, like you said, Andrew. He's just being patient. You know, we're only 70 laps in. We've got a lot of time left in this race. We've still got a lot of racing left to go. There's so much that can happen. There's so much that can be done. As you can see, he is in the midst of a battle with Northway right here, trying to hang on. Northway is really throwing that car into entry. I agree with the driving style of throwing it in on entry. It's a driving style I've adopted a little bit. But to a point, Andrew, when it comes to these fights right now, as we see them still ongoing, you've got to ask yourself, is the dive bomb necessary right now for my overall race?
Hey, maybe he feels it is. Northway gets that spot over McGreevy, moves up into 15th spot, and follows Dowd now as Dowd works on Brock Hawkins. They have settled that out for the time being. So Lionel Callisto now works on Christian Challoner. Challoner was quick in qualifying, Zach, but that car is falling off here in race conditions. It has fallen back to 4 seconds behind race leader Kyle Terzak. So I just wonder how much speed he's actually holding back from the two, and just like that, clockwork, he gives that spot up to Lionel Callisto.
I wonder if he's just saving. Maybe that's why he just let him go. Maybe Challoner is just saving a little bit, saving his stuff. Maybe what he's potentially thinking about, I'm trying to kind of rack my brain here. Maybe he's just kind of saving those tires and negating his pit stop, so that way if more cars stay out, he gets more cautions. He can kind of keep the track position. I don't know. It's a risky call right now. And even if that is his strategy, it's a risky strategy at best.
Meanwhile, there's your race leader, Kyle Terzak, 2 seconds up on Dallas Pataska. Terzak working through some lap traffic. Pataska doing the same. And this is hard going. It is not easy to lap cars a track this small, especially these cars where they make you feel like Superman. As long as you've got grip in the Super Late model, it makes you feel like you can do anything in the world, but you can't. I hate to be Debbie Downer, but there are some serious limitations to this race car. You've got to be very, very careful. So if you've got grip, it makes you feel awesome. If you're lacking grip, you feel like you can't hold on to anything. It feels like you're holding on to a stick of butter in the steering wheel. But for right now, Pataska working through this lap traffic, slicing and dicing. Moves on by the 10 of David Hall. And nothing really changing in the front end of the field.
Ironic you use a Superman comparison when talking about these race cars. I just saw the Superman movie today. Great movie, by the way. And I kind of feel like you really hit the nail on the head when it comes to feeling like Superman in these cars when you have the grip. When you have it, you feel like you can do anything. And I think that kind of carries over with all forms of racing, but especially with high horsepower cars. If you have that grip, you feel like you can just mash that throttle, keep that momentum up. And that's the big thing that carries with working into this lap traffic right now. You hit them at a bad spot. You lose your momentum. Look at the gap that Terzak has already created. Another 7/10 up on Pataska. And look at the spread that we have amongst this middle group right here. You see Barnes right there with Steele behind him. They're caught in a train right here. They can't run their normal pace. They're experiencing more grip while running at a slower pace. May give them a little more confidence, but they're backed into a corner.
Watching this battle for about the, well, kind of, it starts up at 6th place. Robert Nash ahead of these guys. He's got Justin Frederick behind, then Austin Peterson, and on down through Brian Barnes, Ryan Steele, Wesley Holland, some of those guys. But this battle is for 6th. French continues to work forward, Zach, and, you know, I know Terzak is impressive out front. This might be the most next impressive driver. Here he goes, pressuring the 96 of Nash, and that was a small mistake in turn 2. That gives French the opportunity on the inside to make that pass.
Yeah, there was a little bit of bumper tag right there from turn number 2, and that is going to go to French. Through 1 and 2 now, you see them just getting single file. Nash is going up the racetrack. You got to think, Andrew, Maybe there's some fall off on that 96 right now. He's fallen back quite a considerable amount after that pass. Spinner off of turn number 2. Just saw it out of camera shot. Oh, they're all getting caught up in it.
That's Paulison back around.
Yeah, that's the second time he's been around. We saw him go around at the start of the race.
Actually, this is going to start with McGreevy, who we were just touting about. He had put together a solid race to this point. Here he is racing with Stephen Kirby, Kyle Turzak trying to go by, and McGreevy actually came down into the leader of Turzak. That's a bunch of right front damage for our race leader.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Riding on board with Kyle Turzak. There's the contact. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get concerned. I'm not going to get concerned in the slightest here, because we have seen way worse happen and drivers still pull out wins. Think about the Sarah Series. You remember Parker Traves hit the crossover gate and ripped the whole freaking front bumper off the race car. And he still won the race. So let's not get too concerned over a little bit of right front damage.
Oh, did you see that there at the end? Hang on, let's go back in the replay. 1 second. That was a moment between McGreevy and Hutchison there at the end. So this is a replay of the incident back in turns 1 and 2. Kirby on the inside. McGreevy tries to get in line. I think he realizes the leader's coming, tries to get down in line, and he gets into the leader as a result. Paulison gets turned by Hutchison in the checkup, and then as they get back going here, watch McGreevy and Hutchison. Hutchison comes down, McGreevy comes up, and a little incident after the caution.
Little moment of self-clear, I guess.
No major pit stops for anybody out front. We do have a couple of stops. Actually, Turzak pitted under this yellow. This is a little concerning. I would not have done that.
Good rule of thumb is not to do, if you've got the change sets, don't take them before halfway. If it's the one change set, a lot of times I see when it comes to strategies, do not take those sets of tires before halfway. In fact, Andrew, did he take any tires, or was this just maybe top off fuel or damage repair?
Let's see, are we 1 to green? We are. I can't get the replay. We wouldn't have time. Well, never mind. There's more caution laps. Let's go back. Let's see if I can find the replay of the pit stop for Turzak. Here he is. This is in pit lane. Let's back it up a little more. Hang on. Bear with me. Let's back it up a little more. Let's see if he took any tires. So here he comes into his box. Right down to our pit drone down here. And it's going to be right sides up. So that's at least 2.
I think it's going to be 2 tires out and away right here.
Yeah, I don't think you can get 4 in a full stop like that.
Nah, not in super late models.
No,
it usually takes too long.
Left side does not go up, so 2 tires for Kyle Turzak. I'm worried about him getting back through traffic. It's going to be scary doing so. It's going to be a challenge for sure. But Dallas Pataska now leads the race. Your front runners have not yet pitted. Green flag back in the air. And all attention is going to turn to car 200.
Stuck in the middle ground, only in the 11th spot. Not too much ground to make up, but still, when you're in the Hornet's nest, it can feel like a lot. He's already making do and dispatching cars in front. That's the 21 of Roberts up on his top side, down right in front, going right in front of them. Oh no, they're all stacking.
That's the stuff I was worried about. Big crash in turn 2. Brian Barnes involved, Nathan Dowd involved, Wesley Holland involved. Big crash, turn 2.
We had such a good green flag run going on, Andrew, and it seems like we're right back to the start of the race when we had caution after caution. It's the age-old saying, cautions breed cautions.
Right there, Brock Hawkins gets in the back of Wesley Holland. They all stack in. Bryce Roberts gets a piece. Nash gets by. Northway. Really lucky miss for Robert Northway in the 46. Let's go back and watch that for the 46 car. On board with him here, driver's eye POV.
There's all the stacking, there's the spinning. That, in my opinion, is a nomination for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. That was beautiful handiwork right there.
In the Lightning McQueen. In the Lightning McQueen car, no less. That looks exactly like that crash at the beginning of the first movie, just minus the acrobatics. Now, I have a question for you, Zach. Do you know Lightning McQueen's legal name?
You've asked me this question before, and I genuinely was bamboozled the first time, and I'm genuinely bamboozled the second time. No, I do not.
So, I will let you guess, and I'll let all the viewers guess. I read the word less in a message. I'm gonna let everybody else guess. If you have a guess as to Lightning McQueen's name, actual name, it's not Lightning. Lightning is a moniker. Lightning is a racing name, whatever you want to call it. If you have a guess for Lightning McQueen's name, actual first name, put it in the YouTube chat. And I don't know what the winner gets yet, Zach. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we can hook him up with a Murtis Racing hero card or something. But
I'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe. But the winner will get bragging rights at the very least.
Well, I'll see what I can do about it. I'm not too sure what it might be. I know, looks like we have extended the caution period. Race control putting the lights back on the pace car. Now 2 laps to green. I will say, Andrew, off of that last caution, I saw McGreevy go head on into the wall, or at least go around. Secondary to the incident, I was going to say. So he got involved in another incident. He's a little bit further back in this restart as well. There's so many good cars that are getting caught up in these incidents, and I don't really know where to go from here. This is the risk that you were concerned about with Kyle Turzak.
Yes,
you
sir.
pit, you get back into the hornet's nest, and then the cautions come out. You are at the risk of getting involved in it, and you're also at the risk of not being able to get that track position back.
Now, of course, the idea is that there will be a pit stop at some point for the rest of those cars to come in and get tires and such, and he's hoping that his setup will carry him above the rest, even with the older tires, but I'm just not so sure, Zach. I'm a little worried for Kyle Turzak, but here we go. Green flag on the way, back to it. Green flag racing once again here at New Smyrna Speedway. We've got Kyle Turzak in the race car and guessing Lightning McQueen's full name in the YouTube chat at the same time. Spinner Callisto, and that's right ahead of Turzak. And Callisto's going to hang on, but just barely. One around.
Car to the wall.
Big crash.
Oh my goodness.
Stephen Kirby.
Oh, they're still wrecking.
Stephen Kirby took a really big hit.
Saw the fender pop off on the left side. You see the nose dragging on the ground, that left front disconnected. Thankfully, a fast fix still to use. Trying to wheel that car to pit lane. He cannot get it turned, Andrew. He might just have to take the tow.
Watch out, the leader's there. Oh,
I
man.
respect the effort to stay out, but Andrew, this is nuts. He's going to park it and tow it to the pit lane.
Let's see what happened here down the backstretch. So it's going to begin at a turn 2 with the 2 of Lionel Callisto. He was racing with Justin French. Wonder if there was contact there, maybe. Watch French in the 806. Yep, contact in the back end of Callisto. Callisto couldn't hang on. But a great job of saving the race car. But that stacks everybody up. Everybody was out of the gas and the grass. They kept going. But then there were problems behind for Wesley Holland and others. There's the aftermath.
Just an unfortunate set of circumstances at this point. There you see the aftermath.
Bennett got hooked by Hutchison. Kirby got hit by Hutchison. Unbelievable. Big hits. So Wayne Hutchison is kind of a big part of this incident. He is the Casey Kane paint scheme there. Red car with white sides. Watch this out of turn 2. He checks up big time for what's happening ahead. He goes up and slow and then comes back down and ends up hooking Brian Bennett and then comes down and sends Kirby into the inside wall. And that was a really big hit for Kirby. Let's get that on board. Thought he was past it. Boom.
Oh. That's a PTSD moment right there.
Yeah, let's watch this one more time. This is from our TV cameras. This will be a really good close-up perspective to this incident for Kirby. Wow. Now, Zach, I wanted to string this on for a little bit longer, Lightning McQueen's legal name.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta keep it going. Don't stop the party now.
But there's already the correct guess in YouTube chat. And you know who it was?
Terzak?
Kyle Terzak, Montgomery McQueen.
Brother, this is some Brad Keselowski 2012 Daytona 500 moment right now.
If he goes on to win this race, keep this in mind. Keep this moment in mind. He guessed Lightning McQueen's legal name accurate in the YouTube chat.
Are you sure you didn't give him the answer?
I'm sure. I'm very sure. I didn't tell him. Not me. No siree.
Oh my goodness. The Chaos Bringer over here saying that he did not incite something.
It wasn't me. Not today. There you see the quarter midget track inside of turns 1 and 2. And these guys are ready to go back green flag racing. Re-racked, restacked, ready to go. Terzak going to restart from 7th on the inside of Robert Nash. He's got a lot of field to go through. Justin French is still up there. Bryce Roberts is up there. Christian Challoner, Austin Peterson. Green flag back in the air. We're racing again here at New Smyrna. Austin O'Neill in the 2nd spot. Solid run to get up ahead of Christian Challoner and take that spot away. Spinning maybe in the back. Yes, caution's out. Brock Hawkins.
Quite a few cars in turn number 4. And this just follows. Oh my goodness, there was already one car in the wall. Oh no, that's a big, big hit right there for the 13 and that Rowdy Energy Racing Machine. And Brock Hawkins has called it a day after that incident. Honestly, can't blame him. A head-on hit to the wall like that sends him careening back onto the racetrack. There's the incident up in turn number 4. You see it at the top of your screen. That is what has more than likely given Wayne Hutchinson a meatball flag.
Andy Banfield of the 66 got into the 58 of Stephen Paulison there. Let's watch this from Banfield's perspective. Just a check up top, and Paulison came down. Banfield's already there. Some more trouble here at not Five Flags. That's upstate a little bit. At New Smyrna Speedway this evening. 109 will be complete this next time by Zach. What a race it's been so far. Had that longer green flag run in the middle of what we've run so far, and that was good. That got some of the race out of the way and got down to about halfway-ish. Since then, we've seen some pit stops from some cars. Kyle Terzak, I think the biggest of the bunch. He pitted 15 laps ago. Also pitting recently, Robert Nash. He came in for 15 seconds of service. Hard to say exactly what he got done in that time. If it was just damage repair or what have you. Brian Barnes pitted for about 21 seconds. That's consistent with a 2-tire stop in these cars. Nathan Dowd, a 9-second stop, tells me that was maybe just fuel and fast repair. But he's been down the pit lane multiple times. Ryan Steele, he pitted 23 laps ago for what looks to be damage repair only. David Hall pitted about 9 laps ago. Robert Northway pitted under this caution. There he is. So some pit stops throughout the field as we get ready to go back green flag racing in about 1 more lap's time. Weather conditions as they've changed at this point, Zach, really just the ambient temp dropping about a degree or 2 and the track temp dropping a degree or 2 as well as Wesley Holland leaves the pit lane.
A little bit of vortex effect in my opinion, keeping that temp up around in the ambient. Track temp, obviously. You got cars on the racetrack, so it is going to hold that temperature for the most part. I'm really concerned about how the mentality of these drivers is forming up as we go green, Andrew. It's been a caution fest of a race for these guys, so they're thinking, let's stay out, keep that track position, not fall back there. We'll have to see how it goes.
Here we go, back around to the restart zone. Green flag back out here at New Smyrna Speedway. Racing again in the World Series of Asphalt. Getting this lap complete off the green flag. Now, last night, or early this morning, the International region, they ran the late model stock cars. Then earlier today, the European region ran mini stocks. We jump in with super late models here this evening. This is the Americas region of the Major Series. Justin French going backwards right now. He's dropped back to 9th spot. So he's getting passed up now on this longer stint, or I don't want to say longer stint, later in the race anyways, as Nathan Dowd looks to his inside. Contact there. Justin French hangs on.
Don't look down, though. Mr. Montgomery is up in the top 5. I'm going to moniker that nickname for Kyle Turzak now. Mr. Montgomery, since he guessed it first try in your little quiz there. He's worked himself back up inside the top 5. He's beaten on that back bumper of Robertson at 21. We're going to see if he can't utilize those right side tires to his advantage. And with Pataska setting the fastest lap of the race just recently, Andrew, how much do you think Turzak is going to need to push to get back up to Pataska? Or how much do you think Pataska is even going to save when it comes as we get closer and closer to the end of this race?
Well, I can say one car is pitting. That's Robert Northway. It looks like he's going to be done for the day. He tows back to his box. It's interesting, Zach. I don't know how much Turzak's going to have to push. I don't like when he pitted. I think it was too early. But it's actually helping right now because he does have better tires, so it's helping him get back through the field. My concern is once the other drivers, if they pit, when they pit, if they have better tires, if they can get back by him. That's my concern for later on in this race. But for now, he looks like a genius. We'll see if that holds.
Well, see, that ends up painting a different strategy. This is what I brought up. It creates the mentality of what do they want to do with their strategy.
Spinner.
And there it is, big spinner back straight away.
Justin French, hard in the inside wall.
He just called out he was heading to pit road this lap.
Must have been running out of gas.
This plays more into my point, actually, Andrew, with these guys have developed 2 different mentalities. It's been a bit of a caution fest for them, and they're in the consideration of stay out, keep the track position, make the car last to the end of the night. Then you've got the other guys like Kyle Turzak. Pit early, expect the race to run green to the end. These guys won't be able to pit. You'll have the advantage, and you'll walk away with it. But with how things are shaping up, Andrew, it's looking like the staying out strategy might be the one to pay off.
A look at it there from the front stretch camera for Justin French, but this will be a better look, I think, out of turn number 2 from the turn 3 perspective on the inside of the racetrack. Dowd just gets in the back end of French, and I wonder if French was lifting to get down the racetrack, maybe. Just did it on the nose of Dowd.
He pulled off the wall.
Let's listen. He did just get out of the gas for a second, but I can't tell if it was just kind of one of those bobbles or what. I can't really tell why. Pit stop, Zach. Everybody else has pitted. If they hadn't pitted yet, they have now. Austin O'Neill, Christian Challoner has pitted, Bryce Roberts, Austin Peterson. Even Dallas Pataska pitted under this yellow. He came out first. There he is in 7th place now. So this was about the time to go ahead and pit. But some 28 laps ago, that's when Turzak pitted. Can those tires hang on? He only got 2. Pataska, I think, got 2 as well.
I think 2 tires has been the best call so far, and really the only call.
Yeah, I think realistically, this is a 2-tire race, if you will. There you see, right sides were up for Pataska, for Challoner, for O'Neill, for Dowd, Calista, everybody taking 2 right side tires. That's the call.
That's really interesting, though, because you saw the 5 of Austin O'Neill drop off the jack first, but Pataska pulled away, which means Austin O'Neill was waiting on fuel. That creates an interesting scenario about if these guys have enough or if they don't have enough. Ooh, I just got on the edge of my seat a little bit more. If I could really go any further off the edge.
I wonder, are some of these guys that don't run this car as often, did they practice pit stops? Are they expecting it to be a dump can like in NASCAR that just dumps all the fuel in instantly almost? Were they expecting it to be a slower fuel like we see in real life with the super late model? Because that's what iRacing emulates, right? The fuel takes longer to go in. So Were they expecting it to be that kind of race? Were they expecting to be able to just put fuel in real quick? I don't know. But green flag is back in the air. We're racing once again here at New Smyrna. A big restart for Kyle Turzak. The field has thinned a little bit, about 20 cars remaining here as we work lap 125, 75 to go, this time by.
Justin French has called it a day. I'm sure he had a fast fix. We got one car in the grass front straightaway. We stay clean, we stay green, Andrew. No caution. And we look through the field at the moment. I think all eyes should be up on this front group. Look at Pataska making his moves. Getting up to the front. Turzak goes purple. Barnes. Oh, he sees a big slip. He's up into the outside wall. Taps it with the right side. He keeps it going. He's lost quite a few spots, though, Andrew. Not too much damage on that number 4 car. He is still rolling. We are still green, but that's another spot up for Pataska. He's up into the second spot. And the big reason that I have for keeping an eye on this is he had less spots to work over than Kyle Turzak did. Turzak had to work through more traffic after he took his tires. Now Pataska is full send on that 200 car.
Challenger to the inside of Ryan Steele. He'll make that pass down here in 1 and 2. Turzak working on some lap traffic here. Contact. Oh, hang on. That was not how you want to do that at all.
That was dicey.
That was more than dicey. That was McGreevy he was passing. It was. McGreevy's now got some left front damage. And Pataska tries to dive underneath McGreevy here in turn 1. No dice. He'll try it on the max stretch. Turn 3.
At this point now, already 1 lap down. Just let these guys go. Let them get into their fight. Pataska has already started to close that gap up a little bit. Down to 1.2 seconds. It was 1.4 at one point. So now we see 28 laps difference on those right side tires between Pataska and Turzak. This is going to be the big moment here. Now Turzak is in a position that he has got to be a little bit more conservative on his approach to the remainder of this race. Let Pataska burn his stuff up. That 28 lap difference will fall away if he is just conservative with those right side tires, Andrew.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Zach. If he waits long enough, if he can just hang on, eventually the difference in those tires will mean less and less lap after lap because Pataska's putting laps on his tires. They're going to get less and less fresh. They're going to wear away and plateau eventually. So if he can just hang on a little bit longer, maybe 20 laps or so, it might not be so big an advantage. Although he's up the racetrack now, he's searching for speed. He sees Pataska's gaining quite a bit.
Yeah, you don't want to be searching for speed right now, though, Andrew. That's going to be a killer for this run. Caution is on the speedway, though. That's going to be a save as they're still spinning off of turn number 2. We had 1 car around. It's the number 2 of Callisto, and the 10 falls in just a little later on. Looks like they might have been checking up, and that's what throws around David Hall.
This is not what Turzak wanted.
No, it is not. Well, maybe.
Watch the 2 of Callisto here. Gets into the 77, and then he checks up and goes for a spin himself. Was the 77 immediately DQ'd there for incidents?
Stand by.
Because Peterson immediately dipped out. No, he's still racing. He's still out there, so he just blinked at the exact time that happened.
Well, I can't say for certain.
Zach, that's going to be a lucky performance, lucky break of the day for me. To blink out, save the car, come back, and you're not spinning, like that's impressive.
While I share your sentiment with the nomination, I wouldn't personally put it on a realistic standpoint when it comes for the lucky break, but I mean, this is the iRacing.com sim.
It's lucky as it pertains to this race.
A little disconnect never hurt anybody. As they sayeth in the subreddits, the netcode giveth and the netcode taketh away.
Turzak.
He is. Ooh. I wonder if he's
cooling
running
tires.
offline right there.
Yes,
yeah.
he's cooling his tires down. He's running high in the corners, low on the straightaways, where there's been less running so far this race. He's trying to run on cooler racetrack and pull heat out of those tires. So think back to Cars 3, when Lightning McQueen tells Cruz Ramirez that she is in Jackson Storm's head, not the other way around. That's what I'm thinking here. Pataska is in Turzak's head. Because the fact that Turzak is going that aggressive to cool his tires down right now, that tells me he's worried. He knows Pataska's got speed. Maybe not worried to a massive degree, but he's at least doing everything he can to give himself every benefit he can for this next run of Green Flag Racing. About 60 to go, and Kyle Turzak clearly has got the 24 on notice, and he is watching out as we are not going green this lap.
I would realistically be worried too, Andrew. He pitted off cycle from the rest of them. You have got a lot of the cars inside the top 5 right now. Well, 2 of the cars inside the top 5, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 3 that are all on the same tire strategy. Then you've got Kyle Turzak, 28 lap older tires. It's the mentality like I talked about earlier with the strategy. Turzak's strategy would have paid off if we didn't have late cautions. Now, the race is in Pataska's favor in that Majors Garage 24. He's running him up the track, Andrew. He's giving him some contact. Green flag's back in the air here at New Smyrna.
Down the back straightaway, first side by side, Robert Nash, Brenton Foster back here. This is for 5th. Nash going to take that spot away. Foster falls back into 6th, and Ryan Steele still in the top 5. Good run so far for that number 12 car. It wasn't looking quite as good earlier. He got early damage, was running kind of around 10th or so. But as the night has gone on, he has stayed alive and is looking good here in the 4th spot. That car looking a whole lot better than it did about 100 laps ago, even though it's got that damage.
Holding some good speed. Doing a great job as we see a look to the inside. Austin O'Neill seeing if he can't find his way up to the 6th spot, riding on the back bumper of Brenton Foster.
O'Neill's got the better tires.
Look at the racetrack. Look at Nash diving down back to the bottom. He is underneath the 12 car to take position away. They were up the racetrack in 1 and 2, right in the middle groove. We saw the 96 dive it down as we were looking through the onboard. Now, full well and clear up into the 4th spot. Sight set on Christian Challoner. Let's look back at Lionel Callisto, sitting in the 12th spot. He had a pit for repair flag, Andrew. He had some suitable amounts of damage after that last caution, but he's staying in it. He's working on it, trying to get back up there.
And we have lost Wesley Holland, who has blinked out and has not yet returned back to the racetrack. So a problem there is here goes Nathan Dowd to the inside of Bryce Roberts. This is for the 9th position. Nathan Dowd has been the points leader just about all season long. He needs to get himself back in the saddle here. He needs to get back up towards the top 5. He doesn't necessarily need to finish in the top 5, but he needs to be closer to it.
I would think his biggest competition at the moment would be Dallas Pataska up at the front of the field.
In the points, it's Christian Challoner. Only, about 50 back?
Just about. Dowd has been on rails just about every race we've covered. No matter what discipline we have done, he has been on rails. And I know I brought this up earlier in the broadcast during qualifying, how these guys have different disciplines between oval and road course. We have jumped from different car disciplines as well. We've done open wheel, we've done sports car, we've done hypercars, we've done NASCAR stock cars. We are still in a stock car, but it's a little different from a NASCAR stock car. We're jumping from discipline to discipline, and Dowd has been on rails in every single thing we have done. Why do you think he's the points leader, really? He's been at the forefront of everything. Now he's had a bit of a downer for a race, and he's trying to do what he can to get it back.
As low as 22nd, he started 5th, so he wants to get back up towards that, certainly to finish at least around where he started. He's in 9th, working on Austin Peterson here for 8th. And again, he's our points leader by about 59 markers coming into tonight. Christian Challoner, the closest to him in the standings. Challoner runs in 3rd, and now gets the inside of Peterson. Contact there. This is that gloves off style of racing I was talking about at 50 to go. Now 49 to go. Down, gloves off.
Pinching him down to the bottom line, not wanting to give up track position. Peterson he's giving Dowd a race right now. He is working on him. You see Ryan Steele right up in front of them. Brenton Foster and Robert Nash working on each other. Or Austin O'Neill and Brenton Foster, excuse me. Now, Austin O'Neill ducks to the inside. We've got another side-by-side battle up in front of these guys. They're pretty close up on each other. Give the nose off the corner to Foster. O'Neal dipping down, and it looks like down might just finally get clear. That 77.
He almost was clear. Almost. Two great side-by-side battles. Here's O'Neal getting by Foster. That's good for position number 5. Dowd still trying to work here on Peterson. Can't quite complete the pass just yet. And a little bit deep there in 1 and 2. He might need to use that door up a little bit to get this pass made. I mean, that's just short track racing. Lean on the guy, you know? Don't wreck him or anything. Just lean on him. Rub him. As Peterson gets up in a steal. 3 wide. That's Harry.
Where's he gonna go? Oh, they got clear. Steele loses 2 spots out of that. And now, Roberts to the inside. A little bit of rubbing on the door. Callisto right behind them, trying to poke his way into the top 10. Steele has been dropping like a rock. You talked about it earlier, Andrew. You spoke high praises of that 12 car, still running up towards the front of the field. Now all he's doing is going backwards.
He's got some of the oldest tires on the racetrack. In fact, he is the single driver still running that pitted the longest ago. 70 laps ago now for Ryan Steele. That's when he pitted, and of course he would have taken 2 tires, so it's been a large minute since he has been down the pit lane. His tires are finally starting to fall off. He was running good for a little while there, but he's fallen away as there's a spinner somewhere on this racetrack. It seems like it was Andy Banfield. And there's damage again on Terzak's car. How much do you want to bet, Zach?
Someone just came over driver radio, and someone said, "Are you serious, dude?" And maybe it was Terzak.
I would guess.
This is the benefit of being up here in the booth, Andrew. We have some tools that let us listen into this driver scanner. And what? Okay, that's... I mean, Terzak had the ability to run his line. That, all things considered, in lap cars, from a racer's etiquette standpoint, are supposed to give up the preferred line. So, from a Terzak standpoint, that's a tough call.
So I mentioned earlier, I sent him a message on Discord before this race. I said, just be patient. Patience, young grasshopper. This is what I'm talking about. This is a small mistake. He just didn't quite get low enough. If he had breathed a second, breathed the throttle, right? Just take an extra second to close in. He could have got by Andy Banfield here. Instead, he comes up, Banfield's off the wall a little bit. He swerves down, but not enough to clear the 66. And frankly, Zach, he runs straight in the back of the 66 car.
That's really where I'm kind of finding a way to...
All he needed to do was swerve a little bit lower. He just needed to breathe a little more, change the closing rate. He would have been okay. It's just that little bit of a patience thing. You see it here, he closes up in a hurry. Just needed to be a little bit lower on the racetrack. Ends up in the back of Andy Banfield. And I know he's not going to see it that way right now, but I hope he can calm down, get out of the race here in a little bit, you know, whenever this is over and wherever he finishes, and look back at this and say, yeah, I could have been more patient there, and it wouldn't have affected my race. Because I get lap traffic is a pain to deal with. But realistically, they have just as much right to be on the racetrack. You've got to work with them, not against them.
Zach, EOL penalty.
Yep.
Oh, I hate to cut you off there, Andrew. Cut you off.
Yeah.
I was listening into driver communication because the 200 team was communicating with race control, and Terzak made his case in the sense of that the lap car was running like quarter throttle. And
got to find a way by, a clean way by. And it's a small mistake because if he had just swerved a little lower, he'd have been fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, race control basically said that the lap car did not change their pace.
Yep.
And Terzak just rolled up on him, and that's considerably a reasonable opinion because Terzak has fresher tires than a lot of these lap cars. So you have to look at it from race control's perspective. Drivers are going to do what benefits drivers. Terzak's going to make his case as we go green flag racing here, but you got to look at it from race control's perspective as well.
That green flag racing, watching Pataska, Challenger, and Nash at the front of the field. These are some of your top runners in the point standings. Here they are at the front of the World Series of Asphalt for the Major Series.
36 laps to go, excuse me, for Dallas Pataska. Now his biggest competition towards the back of the field. 14th position for Terzak at the moment. He's sent to the tail end of the lead lap car. Spinner, turn 2. Peterson goes around.
Austin Peterson in the 77 goes for a spin cycle. Let's see, this is racing with Bryce Roberts, it looks like. And Lionel Callisto, right behind Nathan Dowd. Bryce Roberts comes bowling in there and just gets all up in the back of the 77 car. You just got to give a guy more time.
Getting into the...
I'll be honest, Zach, this was the first 20 laps. All benefit of the doubt to the car trailing. You've got 160 laps now to learn the bounds of the car and not run a guy over on corner exit. You just got to be more careful. You got to give the guy more time.
And that's the big thing that we talked about earlier too, Andrew, is that when you make that initial contact, you really interrupt the momentum of the car in front of you. So you really have to back out of the throttle a lot more than you think you do. There's the initial contact, he's loose, and then you tap him on corner exit again. I mean, you just got to be a little bit less throttle happy when you've made contact with someone. It's kind of like in legend car racing. You and I have a lot of experience seeing how it's done, being on the receiving end at one point in time by myself, and also being on the giving end of it. When you make contact with someone, kind of use them as a brake, roll off the brake, move them up the racetrack, give them the bumper, you're still out of the throttle most of the time. You're letting them catch that race car so you can still make that pass on them. If you're considerably still laying into them, that's just going to send them around.
Well, as we work lap 168 here, let's take a view at what's upcoming for us here at Pitstop TV. A nice look here. Tuesday, we go racing. We have 3 broadcasts in 3 consecutive days this coming week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, it is. Tuesday, we've got the Nashville Super Speedway for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. That'll be August the 19th. It'll be the first round of the chase for those guys as they go to crown a new champion here in season number 4. Then Wednesday and Thursday, we have day 1 and day 2 of the Impel Motorsports National Tour. Only short tracks, Oxford 250. We have the the only short track's 125 on August the 20th with late model stock cars and some other preliminary racing. We also have the Oxford 250 on August the 21st this Thursday. So as the iRacing.com pace car makes another lap around the New Smyrna Speedway, Zach, we have plenty of places to watch along. They'll be very important here this week with this week of racing ahead.
And one thing that I love right now is how much we've got going on at Pitstop TV. I love the buzz, and you can follow along with all of it. PitstopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitstopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, TikTok.com/PitstopTV1, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitstopTV1, and X.com/PitstopTV_. Got it in before the green flag.
That pause was him setting up his timer going for a world record run. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 30 laps to go at New Smyrna.
And we're already wrecking. Cars going around from straightaway. Terzak gets by. Oh no, McGreevy's going around. Bennett's involved again. Oh no.
31 laps down. Brian Bennett back on the racetrack and involved in another one here on the front straightaway. It's going to involve Brian McGreevy, I believe, at the start of things, along with Paulison there in that 58 car. Let's see what happens here on the green flag. Terzak trying to go low. And Paulison gets hit there. Ooh. Wow! We got a new one, Zach.
Lucky break of the day.
Yeah, we got a new one.
For Kyle Terzak. Oh my goodness.
Watch the 200 here. His perspective.
I'm sure he's going to be happy with a quick caution to regain some track position, get back up there and fight for it.
Driver's on POV. All of that happening right there. He probably got a 4X out of that, and he continues on. He'll slide into 9th.
How about a secondary lucky performance, lucky break of the day? He almost hit the pit exit cone. He would have gotten a black flag for that.
Watch it here. Wow. If he comes back, Zach, the storylines will be aplenty for car 200. Whether it's the early dominance, the penalty, guessing Lightning McQueen's name, the early pit stop. I mean, there's so many things you can comment about with this run for Terzak today in his very first major start ever. If he comes back to win this thing, that will be a moment along this timeline of 200 laps for car 200. He's now 9th place. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility, but Zach, every position he gets will be harder to get the next one. He can get 8th relatively easily, I think, but 7th will be a little bit harder. 6th, even harder than that. 5th will get even more difficult. So on and so forth until he gets up to Dallas Pataska. That'll be the most difficult pass he makes all night long.
I always look at it from a competition standpoint, that you run around the competition that you know is going to give you the biggest challenge. And as you get closer and closer to the front of the field, the competition gets more challenging. And you know you can be up there. You know you have the ability to make it happen. So you just got to reset, refocus, go out there and do it.
Here we go, green flag back in the air. Pataska, 25 to go. We're racing again in the Majors World Series of Asphalt. Terzak up to 8th, looking now at the Sector 5 teammates.
Side by side through turn 4. Callisto has fought his way back up here. Both those cars, really, Andrew, they have fought through really the gutter to get themselves back up and in contention in this race. And here comes Terzak, looking at the bottom, looking to take that 8th spot away. Actually, looking to take the 7th spot away, excuse me.
He's got 8th, looking for 7th on Callisto. Every lap, though, that he burns is going to make it more and more difficult to get up to the front of the field. He gets by Callisto here for the most part. Not quite. Callisto comes back on the outside. Now he might have him, maybe not. As he looks to the inside of Dowd. Still hung up trying to get by the 2 car. There he gets him. Out front, it's all Dallas Pataska leading the race, coming up on 20 laps to go. Next time by the flag stand, the Legacy Esports Majors Garage number 24 has been near perfect today, aside from when Terzak was leading. Otherwise, he's been about 2nd or 1st all day long. This 24 car looking fantastic with 20 laps to go now. Could it be a 2nd win on the year for Dallas Pataska?
We've seen just how good this 24 car can be, just how good he is under pressure, and just how well he's able to respond to the challenge placed in front of him. I think the biggest notability we've seen from him is Charlotte when we covered the World 600, and we've got a caution on the speedway again.
David Hall.
David Hall involved.
David Hall in car number 10. This is everything Terzak needed. Inside of 20 to go. He's up to 6th.
Short caution's playing in his favor.
This is certainly not what David Hall needed. Watching here, I think he's going to be involved in another mess. Somebody else's mess, the 777. What was going on there? Comes down the racetrack, back up the racetrack. That's Ross Banfield. A severe moment here on the front straightaway. Let's go back and see what happened again. He's going to just suddenly turn left. I wonder if his screen went black.
Nope. He's racing on VR, and it went black for him.
In VR, wow. Okay. So, basically, yeah, it's still a screen, so technically, his screen went black. His visual went black, and he had no idea where he was. He pulled left, got on the brakes a little bit late. If he had got on the brakes a little bit sooner, Zach, this might not have happened quite as badly. But I'm nitpicking. It's unfortunate that he had his screen more or less go black, his VR go black in this case. Really not much he could have done, so props to him for trying. He tried to get down out of the way. He tried to get to a stop. Just unfortunate that it involved others.
Well, one driver not involved that is benefiting from this is Kyle Terzak. 15 laps to go the next time they tick by the flag stand. He's well up the running order now. You see a few drivers stuck in the pit lane taking some damage repair. There's the field clicking on by. You got to think what's going through Terzak's head at this point. See him warming up the tires. Everyone else just kind of keeping an even pace. He's just got to pass 5 cars. That's 1 car every 3 laps.
And it's not just what's going on in Terzak's head. What about Nathan Dowd? Points leader coming into tonight. He's got a newcomer in Terzak ahead of him. He'd like to get that spot back. Like to get back to the top 5 if he can. I mean, Dowd's got a lot weighing on this race right here. And of course, caution laps did tick off during this yellow, so we're now inside of 15 to go. Green flag coming back out, 14 to go now. Uh-oh. Terzak into the back of the 5. Spin and crash. Brian Barnes. Caution's out.
Oh my goodness, I saw right there. O'Neal was trying to drop to the bottom, and it looks like there was a stack. Maybe the hole just closed too quickly. Oh no, Terzak did get into him.
Yeah, but I don't think that's on Terzak in this case. That's... So, okay.
I mean...
Let's break this down, right? The 5 car, I get what O'Neal's doing. He's trying to get down low, but he's braking from what's to be expected, right? That's not going to be expected for him to brake and go low sooner than the corner. The expectation would be that he stays up in the racing line on the outside and stays on the outside of the 96. So, like, he has to check up early. So he's deviating further from the normal racing line. And I hope Race Control weighs that into perspective, because I really do think it's that kind of thing, trying to game and get down to the bottom line like that brings this caution out. I can't place this at all on Terzak personally.
Well,
or
just heard
Foster.
the Race Control. They're reviewing it post-race.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think you and I can agree on that one, Andrew. I feel like that's a pretty good call on that one, to take a look at it post-race, get a little bit more detail, get a little bit more hands on the footage to see what
Give yourself
really
more
might be
time.
the best call. Exactly. However, from Terzak's perspective, that's 2 more spots in the span of just a couple of laps. Now he's only got 3 cars in front of him. We're going to have 10 laps to go when we click by the flag stand here. We'll wait and see if they extend the caution period to let the field work itself around a little bit. That's what they've been doing usually on these restarts so far tonight. So that's just going to be less laps overall, and I think Terzak's like, I don't want less laps. I want as much time as possible to go catch that 24 car.
And of course, if you look at this from Pataska's perspective, these cautions are just hurting him more and more. I mean, it's keeping him out front, but I think he's got the car, and I think he knows he's got the car to stay ahead of Christian Challoner. Christian Challoner, a very well-rounded race car driver, very talented individual. But Dallas Pataska, this is what he does, this short track racing. Of course, he takes part in the Semi-Auto Racing Association that we see on Thursday nights. This is what he does. Green flag back in the air, 9 to go here at New Smyrna. Terzak, the run on the outside by Nash. Slides into 3rd.
A quick dispatch is what he needed. 2 cars in front of him between him and Pataska, though. It's only Challoner. As Challoner throws the block hard going into turn number 1. He's got 8 laps, Andrew. 7/10 separated between himself and Dallas Pataska. And it's all Challoner blocking the road to getting up there to the 24 car.
Meanwhile, Foster and Dowd battle here. Nathan Dowd, this is what he needs, as there's the move from Terzak, looking around Challoner. Couldn't do it there. And Dowd still trying to get by Foster.
Still side by side right here for Nathan Dowd and Foster up on the top line, just trying to be defensive. Here comes the other Sector 5 car, and Callisto trying to find his way through. Now Terzak has made his move to the inside line. He's found a way to get underneath him, found a way to get there, but he's lost the ground. Here comes Nash once again. I don't know, Andrew. It's just looking dicey. 5 to go as we click by the flag stand, this time by 5 fingers from Barney the Flagman. He's running out of time, and Pataska is scooting away.
Pataska now 1 second over Challoner. Terzak would need a caution at this point, that's for sure. To get up to Pataska, he would need a yellow. For Challoner, maybe not. Here he goes for 2nd place. Pataska now 4 to go. Nash sitting back and watching this fight. Let's take Nash's onboard and just enjoy the short track racing at the end of this race here. The block of night in the sky as we come around to get 3 to go the next time by. It's going to be Terzak on the inside. 3 laps to go here at New Smyrna Speedway.
A green-white checkered finish would skew everything right now. Terzak to the inside of the one of Challoner. trying to find a way through. He can't quite get there, falls back in line as Robert Nash is just sitting there watching, waiting to see if something's going to happen. It's popsicle sticks in the air for Dallas Pataska. 2 laps to go. It's a caution that's going to be needed for Kyle Turzak to get this taken care of, but I don't think he's going to get it, Andrew. Rolling off of turn number 4, it's all white flag for Dallas Pataska.
White flag in the air, 1 lap to go here at New Smyrna Speedway for Dallas Pataska. The battle behind can't be left behind. For second spot, here comes Kyle Turzak. He's going to make the pass and get by Christian Challenger. Nash will settle for 4th, but out ahead it is going to be all Dallas Pataska at New Smyrna Speedway. Second win in 2025 for driver 24.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you hadn't had him down for driver of the day, that would have been a great pick to have. Pataska walks out of here with another win on the season. It's been one heck of a run for that 24 car.
You're right. I did get wrapped up in the race, Zach. We forgot driver of the day. That's okay. We can still do it. We still got time. This broadcast is not over yet, so let's go ahead and get the driver of the day vote going.
I'm taking Pataska.
Well,
I'm calling it.
Of course. Go ahead and get your 2 nominations. So Pataska, who else?
I'm going to take Pataska, and to be perfectly honest, I'm going to take Nathan Dowd. Had a struggle session all race long, was able to roll back into 6th position, mitigate that points loss, and keep it rolling.
I can't look beyond Kyle Turzak, even if he had a couple of bumps in the road. Can't look beyond him, and of course, at number 1 of Christian Challenger, he comes to mind as well. We're going to keep it easy, I think, with the picks for driver of the day. Make your vote now on YouTube, but that is a checkered flag for driver number 24. He burns it down in the front straightaway, Zach. Celebrates here a little bit, and that will do it for on-track product here at New Smyrna Speedway for the virtual World Series of Asphalt for the Major Series here in 2025. What an event this was. I certainly hope this event makes a comeback in 2026. This was a lot of fun. This is a great way to spend a Sunday night here in August.
Can't think of a better car and track combo. Well, there are a lot of really great car track combos when it comes to these short track racing, but New Smyrna and a super late model, it just hits different. World Series of Asphalt has so much great stuff going on throughout the week with the modifieds and the late models and everything that happens, and I really think the super late models encapsulates a lot of the good that happens at World Series of Asphalt. So great to see this car and track combo. Great to see Dallas Pataska wrap it up, bring it home, and I'm sure there are a plethora of other drivers that could be thinking what might have been for their race tonight.
Certainly Kyle Turzak will be thinking that here this evening. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results, and I would expect this to be very unofficial given the multiple reviews I think that are happening post-race. Dallas Pataska wins it. I don't think that will be argued. He wasn't in any kind of mess. Dallas Pataska wins here at New Smyrna Speedway, his 2nd win on the year in 2025. We'll be talking to driver 24 in just a few moments. Kyle Turzak, 2nd place, his very first majors race ever. It might have an asterisk on it. I don't know. There was a little bit of controversy, but that's okay. 2nd place still for Kyle Turzak is one heck of a run to go back to 15th and come back to 2nd in about 30 laps time. That's impressive. Christian Challenger in the 3rd spot. Robert Nash, Austin O'Neill, your top 5. That is Nathan Dowd nearly getting a top 5. I'd said he needed to get back close to the top 5, maybe not into the top 5, and he did that. 6th place, pretty solid for Dowd over his teammate Callisto. Brenton Foster 8th. Austin Peterson came back to 9th, and Bryce Roberts, despite all the setbacks for him, he finishes 10th.
Talk about setbacks. Ryan Steele had a great run trying to get back up there into the front. He had a lot of tire wear, though. Falls back into the 11th spot, but I think 11th overall for what he had on that race car. Damage and tires considered is a great run for that 12 car. Brian Barnes brings that 4 car in the 12th spot. David K. Hall in the 13th position with Andy Banfield right behind him in that 66, rounding out 14th position. He's the last car on the lead lap. Then you have Sebastian Jackson. First car 1 lap down, first car 4 laps down in that 87 car. He got into a number of incidents throughout this race tonight. Ross Banfield ends up 16th position, 8 laps down. Brian McCreevy, who we talked about, Andrew, who he just barely made it in to that top split by only a couple thousandths of a second. He makes it in runs up to the front, ends up settling for 17th, 14 laps down after getting involved in a number of incidents as well. Stephen Paulison ends up 18th position, 19 laps down. Brian Bennett in that 19th position in that 71 car. He ends up 47 laps down. He had a lot of run-ins. He ended up being that one car that was in the outside wall rolling down the back straightaway. Little midway point through the race, and then Wesley Holland in that number 41 car. He ends up another further 10 laps behind Brian Bennett in the 20th position, 57 laps down.
The back page here, Stephen Kirby with his massive incident earlier on in the race. Justin French, unfortunate exit for him. He was a lot of fun to watch, had that Bubba Pollard paint scheme, but unfortunate early exit for French. Robert Northway, Lightning McQueen himself, Montgomery McQueen that is, in 23rd. Brock Hawkins, 24th, and Wayne Hutchison, an early exit at 25th spot. Didn't have to worry about any extra laps here this evening. Dallas Pataska gets it done in 200 in car number 24. Back at it on an oval in a stock car, and Dallas, you're back in victory lane, but it didn't always look that way. How relieved were you when that incident happened with Terzak ahead?
Quite a bit, honestly. I kind of missed it on the speed for this car. We were trying out some new packages and didn't quite have the speed that we wanted. We had the balance we wanted, but not the speed to go up there and make a pass. I mean, this track is hard to make a pass at even when you have a big advantage, let alone pretty even or even probably a little slower than what the 15 had or the 200, whatever his number was. But yeah, fortunately, there was a little bit of a mix up there, and obviously just executing and taking the opportunity where I can get it, right? So I knew going in he was going to be pretty quick, so it was just managing the strategy, trying to get a tire advantage to come back at him. We got that, but then we got a yellow, which kind of heat cycled the tires and evened them out quite a bit, which made it really hard to pass until he unfortunately got the EOL. Would have preferred to pass him straight up on the track, but to be honest, I don't think that was going to happen. So this isn't exactly the way that I want to win, but I'm still going to be happy about it. This is a track I really enjoy driving, and most importantly, the things we wanted to hit on tonight, we were able to do so, getting the balance right at the end of the race. So got to go and find a little bit of speed, but we'll take it.
A win's a win for sure. And of course, we see the Majors Garage decals all across your car. If somebody goes to Majors Garage today and wants to get the setup that you ran, can they at least get something close?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this setup is a continuation of what I have on the site currently for this race. I just went a little bit more aggressive on things like balance. You know, I like to drive pretty loose, and we were really loose early on in the sunset evening, but just planning on the track, taking rubber, tightening up, tire wear reducing a little bit. So, but in terms of the speed, you know, I try to put out something that's pretty close. You know, most of the changes I make compared to what's on the site is more balance wise and what I want personally from a car. So, yeah. I mean, it's definitely pretty close.
There you go, Dallas Pataska winning here at the new Smyrna Speedway. The World Series of Asphalt goes Pataska's way. Dallas, congratulations. Good to talk to you. It's been a minute. And another big win for you here in 2025. Going to help you in the points. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Dallas Pataska, position number 1 when it's all said and done, Zach. But Kyle Terzak, a solid and close second place.
And Kyle, I'm sure, is thinking right now what might have been for this race tonight. You were running up front. You were doing a great job being defensive with the tires. The difference really between you and Pataska of 28 laps, you were doing a great job of holding on to it. You had the incident up ahead. I heard you pleading pretty much your case to race control, trying to see what you could get dealt with in regards to that situation. What do you think from your perspective could have been done differently or could have been handled differently so you could have had a bit better race and gotten that last spot to get up there in victory lane?
You know, if I just reacted better, you know, I saw he was slow, and I went down. I thought I had enough, and by the time I realized that I didn't have enough, I was already wrecking him. So, you know, it's just a bad deal. You know, these guys are great, and I never bash anyone at all. You know, had fun racing with these guys, and you know, it's just, you know, my mistake. You know, I just didn't expect him to be that slow, and when I went down, it just wasn't enough. But that's part of it. You know, I had a lot of fun coming back through the field and, you know, leading all those laps and going through lap traffic. So I'd definitely be back for some type of event. Well,
he did a great job. He came out all guns slinging, guns a-blazing. to be up there and run at the front with these guys and do a great job. And I got to poke your brain about the strategy call. You pitted a lot earlier than the front runners did. You get those 2 right side tires on. Were you thinking that you could just run through this race with those right side tires and keep these guys behind you? Or do you think those quick cautions are what you should have been basing the strategy off a little bit more?
Yeah, you know, when I took those tires, that's when I got involved in that little incident the first time with the lapper, and I didn't check my fast repair, so I had to come back down and redo it all again. So that kind of screwed me. And you know, when I got in the lead and Dallas was on me the first time, he was gaining on me like a tenth a lap, and I thought I was in trouble there. Then we had that caution, and then I had to cool my tires down the best I can, which I did a pretty good job. And you know, that second run, I feel like me and Dallas were pretty even. If so, I was a little better on the longer run, and I knew that once we got the lap traffic, I knew it would be better, because I knew the first really long green flag run, I was so much better in lap traffic compared to him, and that's when that incident happened. But you know, like I said, it happens. But you know, we had a really good car tonight. Can't thank Ryan Kuhn, Coach Shots, Hot Shot Photography, you know, Turzak Racing on Facebook, and you guys for doing the broadcast, and everyone who puts this on.
We did an absolute stand-up job tonight. You rebounded like there was no tomorrow multiple times. Congratulations on that second place finish. Hopefully we'll be seeing you soon over in Sarah later this week.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, hopefully I can carry this momentum into Oxford. That would be great. You know, I love that track, and finish there in second there in Super Series. So hopefully I can carry this momentum into Thursday night.
10-4 on that. Congratulations once again on the second place finish. Hopefully we'll be talking to you soon again.
Thank you, guys.
Very content, Kyle Turzak, I'll say, on that second place finish. And you've got Christian Challoner, our third place finish, standing by for his post-race interview as well.
I do, and while we talk to Christian, that driver of the day vote is still active. There's still about 30 of you guys watching. If you're on YouTube, which I'm telling you, there's about 30 or so of you on YouTube, vote for the driver of the day. Your options are Dallas Pataska, Nathan Dowd, Kyle Turzak, and Christian Challoner. That vote is in the YouTube chat. Let's go ahead and talk to third place Christian Challoner. When it's all said and done, Christian, a long day at the office, third place. Is that a successful day or a disappointing day for you?
Successful in the context of everything. I mean, it's been such a long time since I drove this car. Yeah, didn't really have a huge amount of time to practice for it, to be honest. Kind of had about an hour before the race to kind of get situated for qualifying. Spun on lap 1 of my qual run, so was off to a good start. But yeah, honestly, pretty good. Better than expected, I would say. Definitely wasn't going to challenge for the win against Dallas and Kyle there, so I think third is pretty good. I mean, it's effectively second points-wise with Kyle taken out of it, so yeah, really happy with it.
And exactly, talking about points, you're about, 4 spots ahead of Nathan Dowd when it's all said and done. I know it's a small gain relatively, but that's a lot of points still for you to get. It's not 1 point per position like in NASCAR and a lot of other series. It's several points per position. That's going to help you a bunch going into Petit Le Mans here next month.
Yeah, I think realistically it's still going to be very tough, because if we end up in different classes, then there's a high probability we score the same next round. And I think I have some pretty bad drop rounds, which is both good and bad, I guess. Like it's good in that I'm wiping him out. Like this was obviously a good run, but it's bad in the sense of I don't think he has really anywhere near as many bad rounds. So you know, even tonight for him, the P6 is still pretty good. It's tough, and I mean, you know, he's been really, really good all season. So it's, yeah, and I kind of haven't. So I'm definitely hoping to make it back, but it's gonna be difficult.
Well, good here this evening, and your work is cut out for you at this point. Best of luck, Christian. Good talking to you. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep, hope to be back here next time.
That's Christian Challoner from the third place, and a solid run for him for sure this evening. The vote, though, Zach, it's pretty stagnant. We'll give you a little more time if you're watching out there in YouTube land to get your vote in while we go through some of our post-race stuff, Zach. First up, upcoming broadcast for us here at the channel. This is a look at things Coming up next, we go to Nashville for the BRB Bucket Cup Series. Then, of course, the Oxford 250 Wednesday and Thursday. A couple of great days of racing there. Boy, it's a lot of oval racing coming up.
That it is. There's so much oval racing coming up. We're pretty much getting back to our roots here on Pit Stop TV with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series entering their first race of their chase. Then you've got Impel Motorsports National Tour. I don't know why I keep messing that up. Impel Motorsports National Tour. I'm just going to start repeating it in my sleep so I start getting it down a little bit better. But the last race that they had there, the Oxford Plains 250, when we covered that last season, that was an absolute amazing race that we saw. We saw the outside and the inside both being utilized. I'm really excited to see how that racing goes on. And while it's upcoming, it's a little bit further down. It's still upcoming. I know you've been tapped for duties again at the Valley Star Credit Union 300 with the group that is going there for the broadcast production. You've recorded some great moments being at that Martinsville Speedway, and you've captured some amazing moments. I know a lot of fans, if you ever see Flow Racing putting out the fight that occurred in the garage area, that was Andrew's camera work.
Yes, sir. That's coming up soon. We'll have our own version of that event with the Sarah National Tour very, very soon. For now, a big thank you goes out to Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody, Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. And, of course, we had the Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day. I'm going to give that to Kyle Turzak with his dodging through the crashing. Second place would certainly be Robert Northway with his dodging through the crashing. You can pick up a popular theme here this evening. Our lucky moments were making it through crashes here tonight. But I'm going to give it to Turzak because of how much weighed on that moment. He still came back to finish second, so that gets it for me. And at the same time, Zach, we've got a couple more votes, and I got to end the vote. The broadcast is ending, so I got to end the vote. And Kyle Turzak is on top of that, too. So Kyle Turzak is today's North American Racing League driver of the day to start up front, lead all those laps, go to the back, come back twice. 127 laps led. That's a pretty solid day for Kyle Turzak at the office. I know it was kind of self-inflicted, Zach, but still a great day for him. Second place in his first start with the Major Series is so impressive. Hopefully he's back for other rounds to try his hand at other things within the Major Series very, very soon. And speaking of Zach, we can take a look at the Major Series schedule. Next up, it's Petit Le Mans with IMSA classes on September the 7th. Not quite Labor Day weekend, I think the weekend after that. So coming up very soon for the Major Series, very, very soon, literally next month. It's coming up in a hurry, about 3 weeks away, I think. It's going to be here before you know it. But for now, that will do it for us this evening at the New Smyrna Speedway. Zach, any closing words?
Competition level in these guys is always fierce. It's always competitive. It's always great to watch. And I think rolling into a new discipline is going to create even more chaos as we roll into the final stages of these rounds. And I think we're just going to see a lot of these guys that struggled tonight come to life in the next race.
Well, there you have it. That'll do it for us this evening at the virtual New Smyrna Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us here this evening, and we will see you all next time, hopefully, for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series from Nashville this coming Tuesday. This has been the Majors World Series of Asphalt here at New Smyrna Speedway. We'll see you all next time here at Pit Stop TV.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.